students of today. Now it's time to kick it off with the students' speeches and discussions of today. And to start things off, we'd like to bring onto the stage the environment team. The environment team have been working very hard on making sure to cover all aspects of the ever-changing world of the environment and what we as the youth can do to combat its ups and downs. So, without further ado, I'd like to bring onto the stage the main speaker of the environment team, Paridhi Bhatia.
A few days ago, I surprisingly woke up early enough to pick up the newspaper from outside my house. The front page had a huge article talking about the trends in plastic usage. The ironic part was, however, that this newspaper advocating a decrease in plastic use was in fact itself covered in a one-time use plastic. Now, we often see this tendency of people advocating one thing and then going ahead and doing the complete opposite. What we really need is a fresh start, to press that Ctrl Alt Delete and rework our way into a sustainable usage of plastic in our community. So let's begin fresh. What really is plastic? It's anything that can change its shape. Plastic starts out soft and malleable and then can be dried into the desired shape. The plastic we commonly refer to is a synthetic substance made out of natural gas, salt, and crude oils. The reason it's so harmful is due to its property to repel water and leach. Plastic attracts other petroleum-based materials that then break into tinier and tinier pieces called microplastics. Small fish eat that microplastics, causing biomagnification as it passes along the food chain to reach the final consumers, us, humans. Next time you are all headed out for a fancy meal, be sure to try out a fresh salmon curry topped with a garnish of plastic. Or if you're vegetarian, I'm sure you could just have a leafy green salad grown in your favorite plastic-flavored soils. The biggest question, in fact, is what role do we play as the sources of these plastics and the government agencies in regulating the flow of these materials into the waters? Because microplastics remain in the ocean with their toxins forever. Another thing just as hazardous is emissions, the harmful gases released from vehicles and transportation. On average, a car releases 5 tons of carbon dioxide. And those fancy cruises that we all want to go on release the equivalent of around 1 million cars in a year, 1 million. And this carbon dioxide remains in the air unless we incentivize the plantation of trees and increase our forest cover. Due to the emissions, the average annual global temperature has already risen by 1.5 degrees. So, sea levels are rising, glaciers are melting, and low-lying landforms are in serious danger of being underwater. But what we fail to realize is this can all be prevented only if we increase our afforestation and also by reducing our impact on the waters. So, what role do oceans play whatsoever in the greenhouse emissions in the air? Well, the green plants found below the water actually take in 50 to 80% of the total carbon dioxide. And tiny microorganisms called phytoplankton release 20% of the total atmospheric oxygen, which is more than that of all tropical rainforests on land. Adding on to the importance of oceans, we have been recklessly clearing the very thing that sustains life on Earth. On average, we have 46% of the aquatic life that actually die due to being entangled in fish nets. Around 650,000 marine animals, including dolphins, whales, and sharks, die every year due to fish nets. Furthermore, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch actually has 46% of wastes only from the fishing industry. How many of you saw that recent Netflix documentary, Seaspiracy? For just 10 to 15 tunas, so many dolphins are killed. So many more are captured and thrown into captivity just for the performance of live shows at marine parks like SeaWorld for the entertainment of all of you. We are standing here talking about sustainability and saving animals, and yet continue to throw them into captivity, continue to destroy the very life that they should be having, all for 3 minutes of clapping and occasionally getting splashed at front row seats of marine parks that promote captivity. And as we get closer and closer to animals, not just the aquatic life, we further our chances for pandemics. So by eating animals, not only are we reducing the biodiversity, but also increasing the incentive for infectious agents like protozoans to pass from the host animals into our bodies, causing more viral outbreaks. In fact, the COVID could have easily been prevented by switching to more vegetarian-based diets. But as the pandemic has been on a high red alert this past year, due to the recession and the rapidly declining economy, as well as due to the environment, with the disposal of masks and contaminated biomedical waste, it has, on the plus side, allowed for the free movement of animals that were once in hiding. While humans are under lockdown, something zoo animals face on an everyday basis, it has been an incentive for the environment to regenerate without that looming threat of excessive pollution. And while we reflect on our actions inside our houses, it has promoted sustainable growth. The truth is, in fact, that the environment can easily flourish without us. It's we who need those magnificent trees and pristine waters, without which we will get extinct in a few years. So why do we continuously harm the environment? Why do we throw animals into captivity when we ourselves are unable to restrain from going out, even at the cost of our own health? Why do we continue to use fossil fuels and high-emission cruises when there's an ample amount of sustainable materials? And finally, why do we refuse to stop using plastic when there are freely available natural resources? We have pondered over all of our actions this past 1 year, and it really is time to press that Ctrl Alt Delete and have a fresh start, because I stand here for the regeneration of this wondrous biome we are blessed with. The question is, do you? Thank you.